Hello, Taurus. Welcome to your astrological tarot solar return reading. Happy birthday. So, what we're doing here today is we'll be utilizing the 12 houses of the zodiac. So, houses 1 through 12. Each house represents a certain theme in your life, which I will explain as we go along. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and already shuffled and pulled cards for each house of the zodiac. So what I'll be doing is I'll be combining the themes of the houses of the zodiacs along with the cards that fell in that house. So to give us a more in-depth information of what you have to look forward to in those themes that we mentioned. Now, this reading is a solar return year, so it's good for this birthday through your next birthday. So it's good for a year. So feel free to come back to it throughout the year to get some insight. Obviously, this is not your natal solar return. If you'd like one of those, please feel free to reach out. That's an actual astrological reading based on your time of birth. And it gives you some indication as to what the agenda of your solar return year is. So, some of the things that will be emphasized and highlighted from this birthday through next birthday. I'll leave my email down below so that you can go ahead and contact me if you'd like to schedule a reading with me. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, happy birthday. All right, so let's start with the first house here. Now, the first house is about our physicality. It shows how we show up to others in terms of our first impression. It's also an angular house in astrology, which means that it takes a great deal of importance along with the other angular houses. We have 4 angular houses in astrology: the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th. And all 4 are responsible for some of the major influences or themes throughout our life. The first house can also show us how we show up to others, but also our outlook in life, and also how we choose to defend ourselves, how we defend our outlook and our ideals, right? And of course, depending on your own astrological sign, your rising sign, that will have a whole other spiel based on your natal chart. So let's start here with your tarot reading. So for the first house, you've got the Diviner of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Four of Cups. So very interesting here. So what this tells me, first of all, there's something new that you're starting here. I hope you can see that. I hope the lighting's okay. But there's something new here in terms of your physicality, something new that you are exploring as it relates to your actual physical self. Perhaps you're trying a new exercise routine, a new sport, a new hobby, something that is, having you start from scratch, but that has long lasting roots. Built into it. So you're facing the beginnings of something new here. Also, it's showing up in how you show up to others, right? The Diviner of Swords here, this tells me that something has taken place in your life, dear Taurus, that has pretty much made you say, okay, enough. I'm taking charge here. I'm seeing it strongly as it pertains to your physical appearance, more on the health spectrum. It's also a mental way of approaching things. So you may have decided to approach a new physical exercise routine with a little bit more structure and more of a strategy, more like a mental strategy, because this is about overcoming any mental issues that perhaps have blocked you here, because there has been something here in the past that has potentially blocked you from yourself. It's almost like you were hiding behind yourself, and now there's this feeling of, boom, I need to come up and show up to the world as who I truly am, right? And you're almost being presented here as a new person, a new individual to the world. There's something here that it's like you're excavating yourself from yourself or for yourself. And this energy of the diviner of swords is like, enough. I'm taking control of my life. I'm taking control of my health. I'm taking control of how others view me. I am showing up as I truly am. No more holding back who I am. No more. Because there's also been a reason you've been protecting yourself here. There's been a block. Physically, you've been protecting yourself too. Perhaps some of you are moving away from relationships that didn't make you feel good physically. Perhaps, if you have experienced some type of narcissism where someone maybe didn't value you and physically you felt neglected, or perhaps you didn't feel good enough. And now it's like, bam, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to claim my power. And I'm ready, even if it means basically what you're risking here is you're starting from scratch. And that's scary sometimes, right? To start something from the beginning, but you're doing it and you're doing it vibrantly. You're doing it well. So, what a great way to start off. Okay. Now, your second house will tell us a little bit about your investments, your finances. It also represents your self worth and your value system. It talks about the things we collect, like the artwork, the jewelry, our money that we earn for ourselves and that we accumulate for ourselves. So, let's see what you got in here. Awakening, Three of Cups, Ten of Swords. Okay. Something has taken place here. Yeah, I think it's related. There's clearly you're going through an awakening here, but so are your finances because something has happened in the past, perhaps the past year, with all the changes that we all have been going through as a collective. There's something here that indicates that this feeling of potentially feeling betrayed, or maybe losing a job here, or losing control of your finances here temporarily, because we're talking about the second house, also disturbing your self-esteem and value, because the second house is represented, by the way, that is your house. Taurus rules, traditionally rules the second house, and it's the house of it's your traditional house in astrology. So there's something here that has awakened you. There's, again, it's that very similar energy to this diviner of swords here, where you're like, enough. You see how similar that looks? It's like, enough. I'm done with this BS, this feeling like I don't have power over the situation. And you're doing this with the help of others. I feel like you've stumbled upon a spiritual community here, a very beautiful sisterhood, if you will. And again, there's this is not a gender specific read, right? So whether you're male, female, them, they, like whatever your gender is, this is not, it doesn't matter. It's still like that vibrancy of sisterhood and support and spiritual support. It's almost like you've come into a new family that's helping you get out of this old energy that wasn't good for you, that was a little bit neglectful, actually. See, I love this. Okay. So let's move on now to the third house. The third house, Taurus, is the house of communication. It also represents our siblings, our neighbors, the things we're learning, the 101s that we're learning, right? Like the beginning stages of something. It also represents things that we are teaching and things that we are learning. But again, the 101s, the beginnings of something, not the mastership of things, right? It also represents short-term travel, by the way. Beautiful. And you have the Nine of Cups in here. So you're feeling, and the Queen of Swords again. This is, it showed, Queen of Swords showed up again. It's the Diviner of Swords in this other deck. But for you, Queen of Swords, this is now the second time. And again, very similar to the Awakening card. And you also got the Ace of Cups. So you have two cup cards and another swords card here in the third house. Now, a couple of things. The third house, you could be communicating with a new love interest here. You can also be traveling to see a new love interest, because the third house is also about short-term travel. meaning not overseas, right? So you could be driving there, flying there, but it's not necessarily overseas. Also, this could, you have the Nine of Cups, which is about wishes fulfilled in that area of communication and you coming into your own fullness and vibrancy of who you are and how you're communicating, asking for what you want, asking for what you need and getting it for yourself, but then getting it from another as well. This is also about creating some collaboration with others, and you could be collaborating harmoniously here, this year through next year. There's a beautiful, again, I feel like you have a new community that you've stumbled into. This is about coming into a new community right here. And you're also potentially loving up on someone here. Let's open up the reading. We'll come back to it, but this is beautiful so far. Also, the Queen of Swords in the third house can be about writing, journaling, communicating. Because remember, the third house is about communication. So you could, as the Queen of Swords, be representing your business via social media or online, or you could be meeting this person via online, right? Through social media somehow or through online dating. That's very possible. Okay, so let's move on to your fourth house here. And your fourth house, Taurus, is all about the family. It's about your roots, it's about your ancestry. It can sometimes also speak about your mother or your nurturing parent. It can speak of you as a mother or as a nurturing parent. It can also very literally mean about your home, like your actual edifice where you live, your house. And these cards will give us some info regarding that area of your life. Okay, so you have some significant change happening in that area. Potentially it's already happening, which is why you're starting at the Ace of Pentacles and moving into the fourth house here. So justice can also represent the ending of contracts. So for some of you, this could be potentially a divorce in the home life, right? Or an ending of a lease or an ending of a contract or a selling of a home because, the tower ends things, right? And the justice clarifies it through a contract or it confirms something or it solidifies it through contract. And then here you have the King of Pentacles, which is about bringing you some finances through this ending. So whether this was a divorce or a selling of a home or a selling of a property, or even potentially some kind of chaos that can happen within the household that forces you to have to sell it or forces you to go into some contractual agreement can potentially lead to some financial wealth here or some success when it comes to the money or there's something here about finances coming in through your property or even some dissolution happening in your home life. Okay, but remember this home can also represent the fourth house can also represent the maternal parent. So some changes within the life of your maternal parent can also be happening, but there's power in this change. There is definitely a financial benefit here to you in the long run. Very nice. Let's move on to the fifth house. So the fifth house here talks about our creativity, our romance, our leisure, our hobbies, the things that bring us joy and fun. It can also represent your children and also the business that you create from scratch is represented here by the fifth house. And in the fifth house, you have the Three of Coins, very beautiful, the Five of Swords, and then the Page of Cups reverse. Okay. So this tells me, okay, a couple of things are happening here. In terms of romance, there could have been something here in the past that didn't quite work out, that you were in the beginning stages of it. Okay, potentially this can happen still, right? But what's good about this is whatever this is doesn't go too far before it changes or ends, right? This can also be a creative collaboration with someone, right? Because we have the card of collaboration here. And we have the Five of Swords indicating that there's some literally a headache or some anxiety that this turn of events is bringing. I get the sense here that, again, the fifth house, remember, can represent your business also, but it can also represent romance and the things that bring you joy. So I'm going to read this a couple of different ways. The first way that this can go is that there is something that you were hoping to bring into your business, that you got to the beginning stages of it and you were really excited about it and were even collaborating with others towards this endeavor. But for whatever reason, it fell through. And maybe the reason it fell through or you decided to let it go was because it was too much of a pain. Maybe it was bringing too much conflict with this collaboration. Like there was something about it that just wasn't gelling, right? And so you had to let it go or it went away on its own. Okay. Another way that this can play out is that you started some relationship, didn't get too far in it, but the collaboration there was not as stable as you would have liked it. And instead, it caused some anxiety. And well, the result of that meant you had to let it go, or they perhaps let it go. But the good thing about this, dear Taurus, is that it's not something that's fully evolved, meaning, yes, it might hurt a little if whatever this loss is, and it's not a horrible loss, I'm not getting that, but it may be a bit of a disappointment. However, the good thing about it is that it doesn't get too far, where roots are built or too much of an investment is being put into it from your behalf. So that's at least a good thing, right? That you don't get too invested in that. Okay. Let's move on now to the sixth house. And the sixth house is all about our health. It's about nutrition. It's about our day-to-day routines. It can also represent our work, the day-to-day work that we do. But the crux of this is really health, um, and organizing ourselves and how we go about organizing ourselves. So let's see what you got there. Beautiful. You're doing a great job. Oh, wow. This is like all the winning cards here. So you've got the Empress, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups, which are awesome cards to get here. So what this is telling me, dear Taurus, is that you're doing a wonderful job of taking care of yourself. If you haven't done so yet, if this is something that you're thinking about or that you are just getting started doing, this is a great indication that you are going to be successful in that area. So if you were thinking of completely revamping, let's say, your health, your nutrition, your routine in that area, this is telling me you're all aces. This is it means you are doing a great job and you will be successful in that. It also represents your work, though. And the Eight of Pentacles tells me you're working hard to earn what you are earning. Everything you are doing is you're putting the work and effort into it. Your nutrition, your health, and also your friendships and any new relationships that you may encounter. Again, I saw it earlier. There is this sense that you're coming into a new community and it's very supportive. It's bringing you a lot of fulfillment. So, whether this is an actual person you're with, that you're dating, or not, it doesn't matter, because whatever it is, it's bringing you so much love and fulfillment and contentment that you really feel full during this time in your life. And that's because you've put the work into it, right? It hasn't just fallen on your lap because you're lucky and fortunate. It's because you put the work into it and now it's starting to pay off and you're seeing the results. But a big part of this, dear Taurus, is that you've met a new community. So there's something here that you've entered into that's really working for you. And I see it being very successful. But okay, let's move on to the seventh house. And the seventh house is all about relationships. It's also about contracts and legalities. So if there are any legal things that may come up this year, we'll see some indication in there. If it gives us some a little bit of inkling of how your relationships may go this year. And this can also pertain to business relationships, basically any partnership, any contractual partnership that you go in with someone. It can also represent things like divorce because it is a relationship, and the divorce part of it is a contractual piece of that relationship. It can also indicate marriage, right? That's what the seventh house can hold. That's some of the themes that it can talk about. So let's see what cards you got in that house. The Son of Swords. Okay. Oh, yeah, I see. Okay. So again, we saw it here earlier, right? We saw it here in the fourth house where there's some kind of loss happening or move or shift happening. And it's being brought up here in your relationship, this feeling of loss. This is the Five of Cups. But here's the thing with the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups, most of the time, is about memories of the past and regretting things of the past and forgetting that you still have two beautiful cups sitting up, but you're focusing on the three cups that are spilled in front of you, right? So a lot of times this is really just about turning around, turning him around to face the other direction. In other words, changing your perspective on a situation, right? And seeing what was left behind. And potentially these two cups can be full with much more beauty and love than these three combined had. Okay, so there's a feeling here that you're going back to something. And, the Son of Swords came out also, but reverse. So this regret that you're having here has something to do with words that you did not get a chance to say. There's something here that you're feeling loss and pain about, potentially here during your solar return year, about the things you could have, should have, but didn't say. Whether it's someone who has passed on or someone who you've broken up with, a relationship, a partnership, a business partnership that's ended. It can also be about not getting everything you wanted from a contract, right? Because again, this is the house of contracts. This is feeling a little bit of loss in words that weren't accurately said, disclosed, or included, right? Because it's reverse. So there may be, so a couple of things here. Number one, just a little heads up to make sure you read all of your contracts thoroughly. Make sure that everything that you want included in a business partnership or in any partnership that requires a contract, that you are including all your needs in that paperwork or in those documents. That's a big, very specific piece of information for one of you or a few of you out there. And I'm feeling it very strongly. So that's very important for you to look at when you're looking at contracts. But it's also about feeling remorse for the words and the things you didn't get to say towards the end of a relationship. And now potentially the opportunity, or you may feel like the opportunity is no longer there. However, you have this other beautiful energy here, the Page of Wands showing up. So even though this energy is happening, there's also a resurgence here of your own raw energy that's coming up in the area of partnerships. I get the sense here that after you go through this bit of a, I don't know what to call it, a hiccup or a bit of a block or sadness or absence of what could have, should have, would have been, or should have said, after this, after you go through this, there's a sense here of vibrancy. This could be a new relationship that's making you feel like yourself again, or bringing out a side of you that's new, right? Because the Page of Wands is about a new energy. And I don't think this could be two things. It can be the person that you're attracting into your life here during your solar return year. It could be a younger person that you are attracting with more energy, or that makes you feel younger or vibrant, or it just brings this freshness and new outlook into your life, either because you're accessing this from another person, or you yourself are becoming this, or you yourself are attracting this from another individual, or even bringing this out from another individual. This is very, very beautiful. But I do strongly get the sense that before you can access this, you need to unfortunately go through this. But that's okay, right? It's worth it if in the end you get to express yourself in the fullest way that you get to express yourself. So that's beautiful. Okay, let's move on to the eighth house. And the eighth house is about merging resources together. It's the resources of other people. It's also the house of rebirth. It's also the house of deep psychological stuff that sometimes we hide from others, right? Like our stuff, like our weird stuff and idiosyncrasies that we kind of keep in the background. It's also the house of the esoteric, and it's a very spiritual house. On the mundane level, like on the literal mundane level, it's more about like taxes and insurance, life insurance, like all those, even inheritances. So, like money that comes from others. But let's see, your cards will give us a better indication as to what direction this is going for you. Again, yeah, there's a shift definitely for you here, dear Taurus. You're walking away from something, or someone has walked away from you. um, Someone or something, a situation that was once shared, because you have the Five of Cups paired with the Eight of Cups and the Two of Pentacles here. So this is about walking away from a situation that brought you sadness, or feeling sad because you had to walk away, or someone or something walked away. Also, the Two of Pentacles is about indecision, or having to choose between two things, and balancing, responsibilities and whatnot. So another thing I want to mention for the eighth house is also the house of death. So, like literal death. So for some of you, this is about a rebirth. This is about dying yourself to your old self of being, right? And going through the pain and the mourning and the loss and the grieving of who you once were. Like I said, I keep seeing it from the beginning. There's like a few of you here that are literally starting from scratch, really coming through a rebirth and a reawakening, right? And the Eight of Cups is a peaceful walking away. It's one of those cards that says, I love you, I miss you, but I understand it's necessary to walk away. And so I'm moving towards the light, because this, what we once were, no longer serves me. Or because I understand you have gone on to another realm, and for those of you who have lost someone, who have passed away. And of course, regardless what scenario you fall under, whether it's because you lost someone through death, or because you broke up with someone, or someone broke up with you, or there was a divorce or a loss in the house, in your household, of course it's going to bring you pain, but ultimately it's to get you closer to you, who you authentically are. See how she's walking towards her light here, and it doesn't mean that just because you walk away, it doesn't mean that this didn't mean anything to you. There's still fire there, right? And the walking away was necessary to help you come to some decisions, okay, and balance yourself out. So there's a need here to balance yourself out after this takes place, and getting to know yourself again, because again, the Pentacles represents our self-esteem, our self-worth, our value system. Okay, we'll come back to we're going to come back and do a little reorganizing here. Okay, so let's move on to the ninth house. The ninth house is about higher education. It's the things that we are learning. In the third house, we learned some things and now we get to teach them in the ninth house. The ninth house is also about going back to school to get for those of you interested in degrees, it's also representative of astrology. It also represents where we teach, how we teach, our mastership, our gurus, the people we learn from. But the crux of the ninth house, which is my favorite part of the ninth house, is foreign lands, visiting, traveling foreign lands, learning foreign languages, meeting foreigners and foreign people. So let's see what you have there. Very nice. Two of Pentacles came up again. So here the Two of Pentacles came up in partnerships, which is about balancing, choosing, making decisions. And you got it here once again in the ninth house, the Two of Coins. You have the Seven of Swords, and you have the High Priestess. Okay, so there are some things here potentially being hidden from you, or a situation here that is requiring you to really go inward and utilize your intuition to properly assess the validity of something. This can be a foreign contract for those of you who are in business. There can be some contract coming in from overseas, potentially purchasing property or some kind of business taking place overseas that include foreigners, other languages. There's a sense here of making sure that you're paying attention. Again, Seven of Swords is about, potentially someone getting away with something, sneaking off in the middle of the night. And it's paired with the High Priestess, which is about mysteries, secrets, and the hidden. So this combination tells me that you are being advised, dear Taurus, to really pay attention. Also, this is the house of our gurus and our teachers and our spiritual advisors and our quote unquote religious leaders, right? Paying attention and really balancing the truths, like really doing your research, balancing what do I know to be true? What am I being fed that's not true? Balancing your ideals and getting grounded with yourself, your spirituality, your intuition to better decipher the situation here. It could be coming from you. This sneaking away, trying to get away with something could be you, dear Taurus, where you think, oh, maybe if I lie about my passport, or maybe if I lie on that visa, because again, this is foreign things, right? It could be about visas, it can be about passports, it could be a traveling, dealing with foreigners. Really making sure that you're paying attention to what you're doing and that you are being careful not to be the one to be sneaky. Again, I am not judging here. I'm interpreting the cards and following my own intuition to tell you here what needs to be said here today as well. There is a need here to get grounded. It's the second time it comes up. There's something here that if you're not grounded can impede this decision that you need to make, this intuitive deciphering that needs to take place regarding the elements, the people, and situations that are connected to the themes of the ninth house. Now, of course, you're all different here, right? All of you who are watching today. So these are going to play out the themes. You just need to narrow it down to the themes that resonate for you, because we have themes upon themes going on here, right? Okay, let's move on to the 10th house. The 10th house is about our career. It's about our social standing in life. It's how we show up to others, but on a grander scheme, not like the first house, right? This is different. This is about like the things that we, like, for example, anything we're advocates on, like our humanitarian work that we do, any political work that we do, our career, anything that put us front and center in front of others to create movement or to create followers, whether it's because you're a leader at work or your career or because you're an advocate in some sort. So this will give us some indication of what's going on there. Also, I want to say it falls on the same axis as the fourth house. That's on the opposite side of the axis. So this house also can give us some information on parental, like the parent in your life. Usually the father, but not always. Sometimes it can be the mother as well. You got the star, which is also the card of Aquarius. And you got the Page of Cups, and you got Judgment. Okay, so there's a decision here that needs to be made and finalized. There's something here, something you have wished for, hoped for, prayed for, meditated on, an intention you have put out to manifest is getting closer here to actualizing. But it's going to require you to stand firm on a decision. It's going to require a final judgment. It's also going to bring up something from the past to be re-examined. I'm feeling a very strong Aquarian energy here. The star does represent Aquarius, but there's something related to your 10th house, related to your career, that could be Aquarian related. So either a person, maybe a boss or a former boss was an Aquarius. But also this is about healing. This is about the healing arts, right? And the Page of Cups, it's about getting on a new journey that has to do with emotion and healing. You see all this water. Anytime I see a lot of water in the cards, it really brings me back to the nature of healing. And so you have a huge major arcana on healing paired with the beginning stages of healing something along with finalizing. So I think the 10th house, oh, another thing, the 10th house is sometimes, because it's social standing, it can show, sometimes when you're married and you go from married to divorce, it changes your social standing in life, right? Depending on where you are in the world, depending on how much your marriage played into who you are as a persona in the public eye. So there's a finalizing here of something. It could be with a career. It can be with, again, a marriage that's changing your social standing. It can be something that's going to bring lots of healing and introduce you to a new way of healing for yourself as well. But it's also bringing you something you've hoped for. There's a lot of wishes fulfilled here. There's another card that you had. I can't remember where it is now, but anyhow, so you're going through some shift here, Taurus. There's some leaving behind of something. There's a new community. There's healing is a big emphasis here. Starting over, starting from scratch, allowing new energies to come in. I'm feeling that strongly. Maybe types of people that you're not used to collaborating with are coming into your life, and it's bringing more diversity into your existence and teaching you more about yourself through differences of others. I feel that so heavily for you. Let's move on to the 11th house. This is about your social networks. This is about the associations. This can possibly tell us a lot about the new community you've entered or you're about to enter. This is also, windfall and things like that. Good luck stuff, right? Let's see. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The sun. Oh, okay. Like I'm done. This is like perfection. This is Taurus. This is magical. I hope you can see that I'm losing some light and I'm realizing that it might make it hard for you to see. The sun, the Knight of Cups. You can very, very, very strongly here meet someone through your friendships. There's a love coming here. There's a potential romantic. Come on, it can't get more romantic than that. Look at him. He's holding roses. He's got his cute Converse. He's looking at you. And again, this is not gender specific. So whether you're female, male, gay, straight, whatever, poly, it doesn't matter. This is basically someone coming at you with the intention of romance and love and literally moving towards you because the knight moves towards something. Okay. And then the Hierophant can potentially lead to marriage because the Hierophant is the spiritual leader. And many times this is seen as a marriage card. However, I'm seeing this as this individual coming in from your spiritual community. So, whether you go to church, whether you belong to a meditation camp, whether you belong to an astrology group, whatever spiritual thing you do, there's a strong emphasis that that's where you are going to be making these abundance of friendships here that are going to make you happy and bring you lots of joy, but then also has this potential of bringing this new love into your life, this romance. This is beautiful energy, right? It's all about friendships and new community for you and feeling yourself, becoming more and more yourself. I keep hearing diversity for you. I keep hearing there's something about diversity. There's something about the differences of others that are going to actually bring you closer to who you are authentically. All right, let's end this with the 12th house. The 12th house is about, it's another heavy psychological house similar to the 8th house. This is the 8th house here. So this will give us some more information. The 4th and the 8th and the 12th houses here are water houses, and they're the deepest houses of the zodiac. And they bring a lot of depth and psychological stuff to the surface. And the 12th house is, it could talk about our literal dreams that we have at night. It could talk about our sleep. It can talk about the things that we're hiding from ourselves. It could also talk about any hidden talents that we may not be aware that we have. Let's see, you've got the Ace of Swords, you've got the Hermit, and you've got the Daughter of Coins. Again, you have a lot of new happening. This is also a very creative house. So it can, poetry, for example, if you're a writer, if you're a poet, if you play instruments, a lot of times in your natal chart, we see that indicated. We see a lot of 12th house energy along with Neptune. But for you here in this reading, you've got the Ace of Swords, which tells me that one of the new talents that you may be realizing that you possess is an ability to communicate, an ability to download information from spiritual information from your divine, from your intuition, and communicating that in a way that's accessible to others here. And tangible because you're bringing it and you're grounding it down from above, from this higher realm into this grounded realm. And there's a lot of spirituality popping out of these cards right now. So you're going to be doing a lot of heavy inward psychological work. I wouldn't be surprised if you sought out some kind of hypnotherapy this year, some kind of deep spiritual counseling, or some kind of new therapies that'll help you soulfully. It's not just mental, but it's a soulful type of psychological work that you're going to be doing. This is deep stuff here. This is breaking through. This is getting into your hermit mode, accessing from above and beyond, communicating it to the public, grounding it so it becomes accessible to others. So bringing it from the realm of the unseen, because the 12th house is all things unseen, bringing that into the tangible, into the 3D, and making it accessible, not just for yourself, but for others. Amen. This is like an amazing, beautiful reading, dear Taurus. Bottom line, you're starting from scratch. You're starting some big part of your life all over from the beginning. And you will feel at times that you're stumbling because you're learning how to walk again, right? You're learning a new journey for yourself. And this new journey may unfortunately include having to walk away and lose something, or you have already lost something that's caused you lots of pain. But healing is promised here, and love is promised here. and there's something bigger that you're supposed to do with your life that's not just about you. It's bigger than you. It's about you putting yourself out there. It's about bringing that higher realm down for others to access. And you've been given this to do. This is your little mission. Not little, definitely not little. But I do want to bring you back. Just watch this, whatever this is. There's something here that's not in the up and up. Make sure it's not you, dear Taurus, okay? And make sure that you hold others accountable. Make sure that you hold them accountable, that they take accountability for whatever it is that they have, maybe they're not being honest about or upfront, okay? But look at this though. This is just one house that something like this fell in. Everything else is a very positive. Of course, you have the loss and the grief and all of that, but that's life, isn't it? Grief, loss, rebirth, reawakening, growing, evolving, teaching, expanding. Anyhow, Taurus, happy birthday. I am so proud of you. I hope that this was helpful. I hope this reading brought some usefulness into your life and that you continue to come back throughout the year. And please tell others about this channel. Please subscribe. Yeah, and I'll see you back here hopefully soon. I'll be putting out some more readings. I'll be putting out some astrology-based readings here pretty soon. I hope you come back. Okay, ciao.